Hello friends, today we are going to discuss about one of the important topic in systems physiology about central neural system. You know about central neural system, simply CNS. It consists of brain and spinal cord. You know, in previous classes we have discussed at length about autonomic neural system, that is which consists of again sympathetic neural system and parasympathetic neural system. Then in this class we are going to discuss in detail about central neural system, and regarding the basics, nervous system or neural system develops from basic non-polarized nerve cells. Depending on the kind of the complexity of animals, the advancement of the nervous system will depend. Now, for example, a consider a diploblastic animal. Here it is nervous system is nothing but a diffused nerve net. Whereas considered an advanced mammal like human being, here nervous system developed in the form of a much complex integrating system with brain as the biocomputer or the headquarters which control the rest of the things. How we consider that human being is an advanced animal when compared to the rest of the beings because of development of particular essential components like neopallium. Neopallium is nothing but the cerebral cortex, that means the gray matter. Consider it is the cerebrum, and the cerebrum will consist of a gray matter called cerebral cortex, and this cerebral cortex consists of different regions. We will discuss what exactly, and it is a sign of advancement or higher evolution of human beings, that means mind in human beings or brain in human beings. Then corpus callosum, the second most distinguishing factor that depicts the sign of higher evolution of brain is corpus callosum, which connects the right and left cerebral hemispheres. In general, the neural system consists of the connecting cells like the neurons and the supporting cells, say glial cells. And we have discussed at length that endocrine system and neural system are meant for coordination and integration. And with particular to neural system, how it brings about coordination. That means how it controls the body activity. Say for example, the sensory impulse will be conducted from the sensor receptors to brain. Since brain is a commanding center, it is called biocomputer to process and interpret the information and send appropriate motor signal. That's how it controls our body activities. And how it brings the coordination. What is coordination first? Coordination means two or more organs, they interact and they complement with each other to bring homeostasis. And this homeostasis, that means bringing about homeostasis is the main function of brain, that means the neural system and the endocrine system. And how with regard to neural system, how it brings about coordination. Say for example, a person is doing physical exercise, that means extra oxygen has to be required, that means for the ATPs, and how the body responds. Here the air passage should increase the rate, in turn the heart rate, in turn the circulatory rate, which all supplies the additional oxygen so that the additional ATPs will be supplied to the muscles. Here muscles, the heart, the lungs, the kidneys and other organs, they coordinate together to meet a particular body or physiological activity. And this nervous system will control all these activities. We have already told you now. Endocrine system is a persistent, follows a persistent approach, whereas neural system follows a rapid short-term approach. So somehow in these two, it was believed that these two systems, they parallelly evolved to bring homeostasis. Okay, it's about different general issues of neural system and the central nervous system, that in the consists of brain, central command, and the spinal cord. They are originated from new ectoderm. They are developed from new ectoderm. Brain will be protected in a cranium, and also there are three cranial meninges which are nothing but connective tissue membranes. Outer dura mater, middle arachnoid, and inner pia mater. And these three, that means the outer dura mater and the middle arachnoid, separated by a subdural space, and here dura mater is very thick and double layered, whereas the pia mater separated from the arachnoid membrane by subarachnoid space. And the cranium and these three connective tissue membranes, what we call cranial meninges. Cranial meninges. That means outer dura mater, arachnoid, and pia. They encircle the brain. For example, just for a rough sketch, this is the brain. To avoid the wastage of time, I have drawn earlier. Okay, say this will be a pia matter which closely adhere to the brain, followed by the arachnoid membrane, then the outer dura, and it will be cranium. These all they protects the brain, okay, in a well defined manner. Then regarding the divisions, we will be discussing about central neural system. The central neural system again consists of three different parts. Three different parts. The CNS, the forebrain or prosencephalon, the midbrain, the mesencephalon, the hindbrain, the rhombencephalon. Forebrain again of olfactory bulbs, then the cerebrum, then the diencephalon, otherwise called thalamencephalon. It consists of three again subdivisions: epithalamus, thalamus, hypothalamus. Here midbrain consists of optic lobes. With respect to human being, there are 4 optic lobes. Then hindbrain, pons varoli, cerebellum, then medulla oblongata. Apart from this, they also have ventricles. We will discuss what exactly they are. Okay, ventricles. These different subdivisions of say central nervous system. The forebrain, otherwise called prosencephalon, the midbrain, the mesencephalon, the hindbrain or rhombencephalon. Okay, forebrain again have 3 different parts like olfactory bulbs, then the cerebrum, then the diencephalon, that is called thalamencephalon, and again the diencephalon consists of epithalamus, thalamus, and hypothalamus. Midbrain, it consists of 4 optic lobes with respect to midbrain, known as corpora quadrigemina. Then hindbrain consists of pons varoli, the cerebellum, and the medulla. These are the different divisions. These are the sagittal section of a brain. Say the forebrain, the olfactory bulbs. The olfactory bulb, it receives a smell. That means smell olfactory stimulus from the olfactory epithelium. But whereas cerebrum, this is a very important part. It is a major part of the brain. Here, the cerebrum, the surface of the cerebrum consists of cerebral cortex, as we have discussed. The neopallium and corpus callosum are the sign of higher evolution of brain in human beings. And the cerebral cortex, which is nothing but the grey matter. In general, brain consists of 100 billions of neurons. 100 billions of neurons. 100 billions of neurons. Whereas the cerebrum consists of 10% out of it. Cerebrum consists of 10% out of it. And we have discussed at length about this cerebrum. As we discussed, it is nothing but a grey matter. And the surface of the cerebral cortex consists of different folds or elevations known as gyri. And grooves, if the groove is deeper, known as fissures. Or if the groove is shallow, it is known as sulci. And in this cerebrum is divided by means of a longitudinal fissure. So this is the cerebrum. This is the cerebrum. Divided by means of a deep longitudinal fissure into a right cerebral hemisphere, left cerebral hemisphere. Okay. A deep longitudinal fissure divides the cerebrum into 2, right and left cerebral hemisphere. I told you already. Corpus callosum. This is very important. This is called corpus callosum. Corpus callosum. A transfer wide, flat myelinated fibers which connect simply nervous tissue, which connects the right and left cerebral hemisphere, is corpus callosum. And actually, we have to discuss this point now. Corpus callosum divides and connects the right and left cerebral hemisphere. Though the right and left cerebral hemisphere, they appear to be structurally similar, but they have different functional things. For example, I have a right hand habit. That means I used to write by my right hand. Say how the brain responds. The left side hemisphere will process, that means will undertake the neurological process with regard to language in case of right-handed people, but in case of left-handed people, its extension is up to 65%. That means left hemisphere will control the language issues or language processes of right-hand people, whereas in case of left-hand people, it is restricted to up to 65%. That means there is a difference in the functional activity with regard to right and left cerebral hemispheres. Okay, and apart from this, we have discussed now Geiria and Sulci. Say they are nothing but say this is the cerebrum. It is a cerebral cortex. The higher elevations, they are known as Geiria, and the folds, that means what? They are the grooves between the folds, they are known as Sulci. What exactly they do? This Geiria and Sulci, they increase the surface area. Higher the surface area, higher they could accommodate the neurons. That means higher the neurological process and higher the nerve potentiality. That means higher the sign of neurological processes. That is how the human beings become advanced than the other animals. So we have the best problem solving abilities and we have the best language skills. How could the human beings distinguish from the rest of the animals? With regard to our communication, we have effective communication now. Say we have thousands of languages, and whereas other animals, they have primitive languages, but we have primitive communication. We have effective communication by means of language, and this has been accompanied by this cerebral cortex, that means Geiria and Sulci formation, because they increase the surface area, higher the neurons. At the same time, the memory. The memory and the communication are the two distinguishing features that distinguish the human beings from the others. And it depicts the sign of higher evolution of human beings. That means higher evolution of brain in case of human beings. And this is because of Geiria and Sulci matter. They are at the surface of the cerebral cortex. Okay. Then this is about white matter. This is about grey matter. Inner to it, there is known as cerebral medulla. This is nothing but the white matter. This is how the anatomy, that means the outer grey matter and inner white matter is present. In case of cerebrum, we have to speak about certain different things. Since we have discussed about the same in our first discussion, there are certain centers known as hippocampus. Say hippocampus. Hippocampus is concerned with memory, formation and recalling of memory. How would I recall certain things that happened in the past because of hippocampus, and how I generate my memory because of hippocampus. There are certain distinguishing features in our brain. All I told higher evolution of the brain is depicted by the advancement of certain structural characters of brain, like Geiria, Sulci, and this hippocampus also. Here, other animals also have, but in brain it is highly advanced. In human beings, it is highly advanced. Say it is mainly concerned with memory. Then another feature is a limbic system. Limbic system. The inner cerebral hemispheres, in association with parts like hippocampus and others, they form limbic system, which are mainly concerned with sexual behavior, that means regulation of sexual behavior and emotional expressions. We have discussed now in case of autonomic neural system, the limbic neural system, it will receive different stress inputs from cerebral, that is, say for example, say auditory or visual cortex, and they send the same to hypothalamus, which is nothing but the seat of autonomic neural system, that we command. That's how they regulate, that means they react during emotional stress. This limbic system is a crux point for stress management, because it is the seat of emotions. And also the sexual behavior, libido, the sexual urge. These are all concerned with the limbic system, and the hippocampus is concerned with the memory. Okay. Then this is about the cerebrum. Then the diencephalon. After that cerebrum, they say for example this is cerebral hemisphere, this is corpus callosum, and the diencephalon. Again have epithalamus, thalamus and hypothalamus. Say this is the thalamus. Thalamus. And this is the hypothalamus. We already discussed now what exactly the hypothalamus. This is pituitary. You know, epithalamus, the roof of the diencephalon is epithalamus. You know, this epithalamus is considered as roof, and the most important thing is anterior choroid plexus. You know, anterior choroid plexus. Anterior choroid plexus. Anterior choroid plexus. Epithalamus consists of a non-nervous tissue. This is very important. You know, which forms anterior choroid plexus, you know, which adheres to the pia mater. It's like connecting point of brain to the cranial meninges. Say at the epithalamus, which is a non-nervous tissue, connects to the pia mater and it forms anterior choroid plexus. You know, plexus means a network of neurons. That's it. This is very important. Then epithalamus, you know, you can see a penile body. The epiphysis cerebri. I mean the penile, which is one of the important endocrine gland. Then the thalamus. Here thalamus, and this is the thalamus. It is a place where there is a coordination of sensory and motor impulses, motor info processing, simply called sensory and motor processing. And this is present superior to the midbrain because it's a sequence now. The olfactory bulb, cerebellum, diencephalon, epithalamus, thalamus, and hypothalamus. Hypothalamus, nothing but the floor of the diencephalon. It comes up pituitary gland. We have discussed at length. Okay. Then this thalamus is followed by the midbrain. This is the midbrain. Midbrain or mesencephalon. You know, this midbrain consists, you know, the front portion, that means the ventral portion consists of crura cerebri. Crura cerebri. Here it connects the cerebral hemisphere to that of the pons veroli. Crura cerebri. Crura cerebri. Present in the ventral portion. Okay. The dorsal portion. The dorsal portion consists of corpora quadrigemina, the optic lobes. You know, corpora quadrigemina. Here we will rub up some of the things. Okay. Corpora quadrigemina again of two kinds. Say like this, corpora quadrigemina. Optic lobes, you know, that is the superior colliculi. Superior colliculi. And this is the inferior colliculi. Inferior colliculi. Superior colliculi concerned with vision. Inferior colliculi concerned with auditory function. You know, the most important thing in central neural system is the technical terms. Say, you have to remember in examination point of view and concept point of view, you will ask different questions based on technical terms only. If you are sure about technical terms, then you have higher clarity about that. So the corpus callosum, so the crura cerebri, so the superior colliculi, the corpora quadrigemina, the superior colliculi, the first anterior large, the superior colliculi concerned with vision, and the lower, that in the posterior small optic lobe, inferior colliculi concerned with the auditory function. That means different words have different interpretations. Okay. And this is about midbrain. Then the hindbrain, what we call rhombencephalon, is the pons veroli, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. You know, the cerebellum. This is cerebellum. Okay, this is a cerebellum. Cerebellum. It is known as little brain, and after the cerebellum, it is the second major occupier with respect to size. And just like the cerebral hemisphere, it also have two parts, two halves. That means right and left cerebellar hemispheres. And each half again have anterior lobe, the posterior lobe, and the floccular lobe. Cerebellum again, the most important floccular lobe is important, no? Floccular lobes. That means anterior, posterior, and floccular lobes. Here the cerebellum is a seat of, Muscular, that means muscle locomotor activities. In case of cerebrum, here the major activities will be controlled by cerebrum. Here the cerebellum also have certain important essential body activities like locomotor activities. Here it is considered as a gyroscope of the body because it maintains equilibrium. Ataxia. A disorder associated with cerebellum that leads to uncoordinated voluntary muscular movements. That means the cerebellum is concerned with locomotor movements. That means voluntary muscular movements. Disorder in the cerebellum leads to ataxia. That means uncoordinated movements. We lost our equilibrium. I told you now, cerebellum is known as gyroscope of the body. That means maintaining of equilibrium. Then because of ataxia, it lost its role. Then after the cerebellum, pons varoli. Here the thing is, this pons varoli, this is a pons varoli. Pons varoli. Pons varoli. This pons varoli, the midbrain, and the medulla. Say for your understanding right here. This constitutes as brain stem. As brain stem. The pons varoli. Sequence, okay? Midbrain, pons varoli, and the medulla oblongata. They constitutes as brain stem. This pons varoli, most important consists of pneumotaxic center. Pneumotaxic center, which regulates the respiratory muscles. Now the pons varoli, so this pons varoli, that means locational, I am saying. It is present in front of the cerebellum, below the midbrain, above the medulla oblongata. And this pons varoli, it is a relay station for example for cerebellum. And the most important point is it consists of pneumotaxic center. Pneumotaxic center means it regulates the muscles of respiration. That means respiratory muscles. Say for example, it regulates how much air I should take each time. That means it is the most essential function, by pons varoli. And its location is, just above the medulla oblongata. And followed by the medulla oblongata, this is the medulla oblongata. This is the medulla. This is known as the seat of involuntary activities. Say the cardiovascular center. So the respiratory center, the center for vomiting, the center for coughing, the center for sneezing, the center for even hiccuping. All these are present in medulla. That means the most of the essential activities are present in the medulla. That means are concerned with the medulla oblongata. And it is a posterior end. That means the last part of the medulla continuous spinal cord. That means the last part of the posterior part of the central nervous, that means brain. Yet since medulla is involuntary activities, it is crux point of life, survivability. Simply say the cardiovascular activity, say the respiratory activities. Okay, and after that the spinal cord. And before we go into the spinal cord topic, there are certain ventricles. I have discussed now. Ventricles and CNS. Discuss about this topic. Ventricles and CNS. Ventricles, there are 4 ventricles are there. Say the 2 paraseals, the 1 diocele, and the myelocele. It fills the ventricles and subarachnoid space. Central nerve, cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid fills the ventricles and subarachnoid space. Here the ventricles are most important. No, here the right and left side hemisphere contains 2 ventricles. They are known as lateral ventricles. First and second lateral ventricle known as paraseals. And whereas the diencephalon consists of diocele. The word implied diocele. Paraseals, dioceles. Then the medulla oblongata, the 4th ventricle known as myelocele. The most important thing is, the paracele, they individually connects to diocele by foramina of Monroe. Foramina of Monroe. Individually, the paracels and two lateral ventricles connected to diacyl by foramina of Monroe. And this diacyl is connected to a narrow passage. So this is a narrow passage known as iter. Or cerebral aqueduct. Cerebral aqueduct. Cerebral aqueduct. Or aqueduct of Sylvius. Or aqueduct of Sylvius. This diacyl connects to myelocyte by the by means of iter or cerebral aqueduct or aqueduct of Sylvius. Here the metacell also continues with the spinal cord, and this medulla oblongata continues into the spinal cord by means of foramen magnum. Medulla oblongata, foramen magnum. Medulla oblongata extends in the spinal cord through foramen magnum. I told you there are different words. You got to remember. So it's about central neural system, the brain. Then let us come to the spinal cord. The spinal cord, where the spinal cord is present. The spinal cord is present in the neural canal, the vertebral canal of the vertebral column. What you say, this is the spinal cord. It is present in vertebral canal. And the thing is, it consists of the inner, the central grey matter. The central grey matter and the outer white matter. It is a central canal. Here this is called posterior median sulcus. This is the anterior median fissure. These are the ventral horns. This is the ventral horn, and these are the dorsal horn, and these are the dorsal root of spinal nerve. This is the spinal nerve. And this is a ventral root. This is a ventral root. This is a ventral root of spinal nerve. Ventral root of spinal nerve. That means the spinal cord, by means of two, it divides in by means of anterior, that means posterior or dorsal median sulcus, anterior or ventral median fissure. It divides the spinal cord. And again the grey matter is subdivided into dorsal horns and ventral horns. And this grey matter consists, encircles a central canal. And this grey matter consists of, dendrites, the cell bodies, the nuclear cells, like that. And here the spinal nerve, it consists of ventral, that means the dorsal root of spinal nerve is the ventral root of spinal nerve. And the spinal cord is considered as a middleman for receptors and the effectors, because it conducts sensory and motor impulses to and fro from the brain. Okay, and the spinal cord rests in a, it actually extends from medulla oblongata to the second lumbar region, the superior border of the second lumbar region. Say from medulla oblongata to the superior border of the second lumbar region. These are the where it occupies and rests in the vertebral canal. Okay, this is about spinal cord, and this is about central nervous system. The main objective of my class is to serve and cater to the needs of needy and poor students. Okay, accordingly, may like, comment, and share. Thanks for watching.